Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. According to the Ministry of Health, over 55,000 people have now been tested for coronavirus in Poland, with over 2,400 people proving positive. 4,300 tests have been conducted in the last 24 hours. This is the latest data on the current state of the epidemic in Poland. The Ministry of Health has confirmed 109 new coronavirus infections in Poland. The total number of those infected with the coronavirus has reached 2,420. Unfortunately, due to the virus, 3 other people have died. An 83-year-old man in hospital in Warsaw and a 68-year-old man in hospital in Tychy. And the latest victim of the coronavirus, a 51-year-old man who was also hospitalized in Tychy. The head of the Ministry of Interior and Administration, Mariusz Kamiński, has announced that there will be an increased number of police patrols and military police on Polish streets. He also warned citizens to obey quarantine, as the Polish government has increased the size of fines for breaking quarantine regulations from 5,000 to 30,000 zloty. Due to the changes introduced by the regulation of the Council of Ministers, the tactics of the actions taken by the uniformed services and police will change. I would like to say that a great proportion of our policemen will make intensive patrols on the streets of our cities and smaller regions. 20,000 policemen, together with 1,500 soldiers and military police, started patrolling our streets today. These actions will be strengthened even more. From tomorrow, by decisions made by governors, municipal police will be supervised by the police, so the police will be coordinating patrols of all services, which can be helpful when it comes to responsibility. The Polish government has introduced fines for breaking quarantine from 5,000 to 30,000 zloty for people who do not obey quarantine. These administrative fines will be determined by sanitary inspectors and police. Fines will be imposed immediately on people who break this civil solidarity and put at risk not only their lives, but also the lives of others. The package of bills known as the Anti-Crisis Shield has come into force. Yesterday evening, President Andrzej Duda signed the bills which aim to save the Polish economy with measures worth more than 200 billion zloty. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, in a special statement on Facebook, encouraged Poles to familiarise themselves with the Anti-Crisis Shield. I believe in Polish businesses and employees, and I believe we will get through this crisis, but we need to act together, the Prime Minister stressed.
Epidemia koronawirusa zagroziła nie tylko naszemu zdrowiu.
The Polish economy faces a time of great challenges. The coronavirus epidemic threatens not only our health, but also hurts the basis of our economy, businessmen and employees. We all want our economy to return to the right state after the pandemic is over, to return to the path of development. In order for this to happen, we need to act today. The goal of the Anti-Crisis Shield is to help Polish companies so they are able to survive this toughest time. It's a financial package worth 200 billion zloty. That is around 10% of Poland's gross domestic product. It is the biggest financial help from the state in the contemporary history of our country. It is in the interest of the entire economy to provide continuity for Polish companies and workplaces. First of all, we need to make sure that people will keep their jobs. We need to prevent a wave of firing. That is why we will financially support companies in such a way that keeping on employees will pay off. I ask the chief executive officers of Polish companies and members of boards to familiarise themselves with the conditions of the shield. Ministers of my government are at your disposal. I want to thank all the people from the world of business, saying that they do want to fight for their companies, for their employees. We can overcome this crisis, but we need to act together. I believe in Polish businessmen, in Polish employees and our nation. We will get through this.
Możemy przezwyciężyć ten kryzys, ale musimy działać razem.
Marlena Maląg, the Minister of Family, Labour and Social Policy, said in an interview for Polish Radio 24 that according to the ministry's estimates, the number of unemployed will rise to around 1.4 million, which would mean a rise in the unemployment rate from 5.5 to around 9 to 10%. At the same time, Minister Maląg confirmed today that the 13th pension payment for retirees had been launched. April the 1st is also the 4th anniversary of introducing the Family 500 Plus programme.
Ponad 100 miliardów złotych zostało przekazanych od początku programu.
Since the start of the 500 Plus programme, more than 100 billion zloty has been given to Polish families. 6.5 million children have been included in the programme. The Good Start programme, for the beginning of the school year, will be continued as well, just as the 13th pension which started today. It is our way of saying thank you to our seniors. All these programmes will be continued. From our early prognoses, it seems that we may have a rise in unemployment from around 920,000 to 1.4 million, so around 9 to 10%. We will keep analysing the data. We now have April and May in front of us, so the number of employees losing their jobs will increase. Nonetheless, the development of our economy should be boosted again once the epidemic ends. These are our estimates at the moment.
Jesteśmy przygotowani do tego i różne trudne decyzje będą podejmowane, natomiast nie kosztem Polaków.
The current situation caused by the coronavirus has prompted the governing Law and Justice Party to propose a bill to change the voting code, which would allow all eligible voters to use absentee ballots. Last night, the Speaker of the Sejm, Elżbieta Witek, appealed to the opposition to take a constructive approach in this matter to allow for a smooth legislative process, which is extremely important given the tight legislative calendar.
Projekt odpowiednich przepisów w tej sprawie jest już w Sejmie.
The proposed text of the absentee voting option for every Polish citizen has been filed and is waiting for the start of the legislative process. Time is of the essence, and we need to work together with all party caucuses and our Senate, the upper chamber, to get it done. As the Speaker of the Sejm, I assure you that we are ready to proceed quickly, efficiently and in good faith. I would also like to appeal to the Speaker of the Senate that the upper chamber also approach this task seriously and responsibly. I am appealing for the efficient handling of this bill in the Senate, since it will be literally a few days from its adoption in the Sejm, so that the President can sign these changes and make them work.
Aby prezydent mógł podpisać te zmiany i by mogły one zafunkcjonować.
On the same day, the Sejm rejects our amendments about wide access to tests for coronavirus, about additional support for healthcare and assistance to entrepreneurs, coming back again with the idea of changes in the electoral law and expecting the Senate to be a voting machine is simply disrespectful. The idea of voting code changes was criticised by the leader of the Civic Platform, Boris Budka. He reacted very strongly to the idea of holding elections as absentee voting on the 10th of May. He said in one of the interviews that everyone wants to hold the election on the 10th of May will have blood on their hands for playing with the health and life of Poles. From the beginning, his party has opted for a postponement of the election date. The Polish People's Party is of a similar view and demands that the presidential election be postponed for a year. Technically, the basic idea is that it would look similar to the present solution of absentee ballots, via regular letter mail. I think that we all agree on the right camp that the presidential elections are extremely important and that Poles should be able to take part in them. The Sejm plans to deal with this bill at the next session called for 3rd of April. The Senate, in accordance with the Polish parliamentary procedure, has 30 days to consider the bill. If the Senate uses the time allowed to process the bill and in the end rejects it, then in turn the Sejm would have an extremely limited time in which to make it work. According to a survey made by the pollster Social Changes for the Policja.pl website, if the Polish presidential elections were to be held in May, Andrzej Duda would win in the first round. The voter turnout would be 35%. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from the news, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.